What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a great day. And if you're new to the channel and want to hit the subscribe button, that'd be awesome. Goal by the end of the year is to hit 10K subs, and I know I can definitely do that with all your help. So if you're liking the videos and the content that I am producing, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like the videos. It helps me out immensely. We are finally going to be putting out some Prelude content since I already have a barrage of Skyline videos out. Just to sum it all up, we got the Greddy oil cooler, the Greddy intercooler, the new fuel filter, the Coilrad aluminum radiator installed, the new Brid racing seats, and the Brid racing brackets to accommodate the low max seats. We got the Ganadors from New Zealand in, off to paint. We finally got the VN Sports kit from Japan to here, mocked up, test fitted, did all my bolt holes, and also sent that to John out to paint. So the Skyline is currently on hold until, of course, my parts from paint come, which gives me plenty of time to finally do some work on the Prelude. Just want to apologize for putting the Prelude on the back burner for the longest time, but I did buy the Prelude a gift, my dream Vertex steering wheel. If you saw the last video, straight from Japan. Took about a month and a half to get here, but it complements the interior quite well. And like I mentioned in the last video, in November we will be driving up to California to HMO to be picking up a new motor and transmission. And in this video we'll be installing Suspension Techniques front and rear sway bar. These are both 25 millimeters front and rear, so about an inch. We will also be freshening up the end links in the rear with some Moogs. Got this from their website directly. Of course, they're sold by the each, so you have to buy a pair. And also for the Suspension Technique sway bar, I bought them from their site directly. It did take about 3 weeks to get here, to get everything processed and shipped due to the pandemic, but included are instructions, some lube, comes with polyurethane bushings and new brackets, and also some new hardware. So the front should honestly be easy since I already refreshed the end links and the outer tie rods, and pretty much all the front bushings have been replaced. I know I'm going to be struggling a little bit with the rear since everything is still original, and I know the bolts are probably corroded, the bushings are corroded. So we might have some struggle with that, but nothing some elbow grease and some PB Blaster can't fix. So let's go ahead and get the Prelude aired up, loosen the lug nuts, put the Prelude on jack stands, and PB blast all the bolts we will be attacking today. I'll probably continue this video tomorrow, which will be like a couple seconds for you guys since my camera battery is dying and I want to film as in detail as I possibly can. Update, got the Prelude on jack stands, got all of the end links, nuts and bolts I'm going to be attacking today, PB blasted. Hayride is for sale, $2,500, I will ship. Work Rezacs are also for sale, $1,700. Orbis offer buyer pay shipping. So I'm gonna go ahead and let all these bolts soak overnight, charge my camera, and we will begin tomorrow morning. We are back. Let me give you guys a little sneak peek. That's all you get. Stay tuned for the next video or two for that reveal. So, like I mentioned in the last couple of clips, overnight I let the bolts here to the end link soak in our savior PB Blaster. Gave him a good rundown on all the bolts in the back. So like I mentioned, the rear suspension has not been touched in terms of end links and the nuts and bolts and bushings, so they're kind of really old, and this Prelude is from Florida. And then our front, I just recently did all the rack and pinion and new end links, so this shouldn't be too complex to take out. But to remove your sway bar, of course you got all your bolts and such in bracketry. We're going to have to drop the cat so we can finesse out the front sway bar. And by the way, I'm running a MagnaFlow high flow cat to a NVIDIA Q300. Update, so I got the driver's side and passenger side brackets off that hold the rubber bushing in the center of the sway bar. So these aren't actually in bad shape, but you can tell that will be going out soon. And again, the original brackets I'm gonna degrease really well, as well as the bolts. I'm gonna clean them up really good, try to get as much rust off as I possibly can. All that's left to do is drop the high flow cat and the end links. Okay, so I got the OEM sway bar out. It is a tiny bit smaller than the ST Technique sway bar. It is also hollowed. The ST is going to be a solid. It is painted this beautiful, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. It's like a black with some, it's like a Nighthawk pearl black, like the OEM Prelude color. It's got a lot of flake in it in IRL, but definitely feels quality. Fitment looks like it'll line up just right. So all I'm gonna do now is take off the Moog end links, swap them onto the ST, and we'll reinstall everything up front. So with ST suspension, they do supply you with all new hardware, of course, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, polyurethane, bushings, and new bracket. These are locking brackets that go underneath like so. We'll go ahead and lubricate the inside of the urethane bushing and just a little bit too on the bar itself. That's pretty much it. These bolts are a little bit longer than OEM in case you do need them. Got the Moog end links already on, so we'll go ahead and lubricate everything up, slide everything in accordingly, and we will torque these to spec. Don't torque them super tight on the car just yet. Wait until you have the car slightly on the ground, or if you have ramps to just kind of compress to stimulate static height on the car, and then begin to torque them down. All the bolts too, I believe it was 18 foot-pounds on the bushings here. So this side here and then underneath here as well. Update, so I got the front sway bar in, put everything back together and bolted everything up to spec. Just wanted to show you guys some fitment. So honestly, I had no issues at all. Just be sure to take your shift linkage cable out and then put your bar in. Helps out tremendously. Brackets fit great. Clears the exhaust tunnel with the bend of the bar and lines up perfectly with the end link. So before you tighten the bracket here, just keep it like a little bit more than hand snug, and then reposition the bar so that your end links from your driver and passenger side are as symmetrical as possible, going parallel. But so far so good. Now it's time to take on the rear. I highly recommend to make this job significantly easier and to aid you in your success, have a pass-through socket set. It makes it significantly easy to get the end links out. Alright, so after battling this end link nut up here, I didn't want to have to do this, but the inside is stripped for the Allen key, and the nut portion on the end link bolt is frozen on. So what I'm going to do is get my angle grinder and just cut every 6 point of this, and then use a hammer to chisel the nut off. And I mean, that's probably the best I can do. Alright everybody, I did the impossible. Finally got this end link out after the nut and bolt were frozen on. So you can see the extensive damage on it. Again, just used a cutting wheel, cut the bolt in half, used I would say like a punch to kind of split it, and then used another punch to eject it out of the rear. I would call this the rear lower arm, the rear knuckle, but it's out. So all I gotta do is hopefully not the same thing to the other side. Take out the sway bar brackets here, and we can put the new one back on. Update, so I got the passenger side end link out and also removed the whole sway bar. I'm gonna take out the brackets too to give them a good cleaning. I believe on most of the 5th gens you'll have to disconnect the muffler so you can slide the sway bar out. And while I'm back here again, if you want to achieve up to -7 or -8 degrees of camber when your vehicle is at its lowest height, SPC Extreme ball joints installed backwards. But if you do this, you have to accommodate the toe, so you'll have to purchase the Megan Racing lower toe arms. And here is a little before and after. There's not a whole lot of bends, which makes it more stable. And also again, that is hollow and this is solid. All right, everybody, that sucked, but I got the rear in, both end links tightened up. Of course, I will torque them down to spec once the car is again on the ground. Brackets are tight, torque to spec, 18 pounds. Other bracket on the other side is good. Clearance, pretty spot on, honestly. Only thing for this exhaust, the Q300 NVIDIA, does rub a little bit up there, but nothing extreme. Does feel solid already, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the car back on the ground and then tighten everything to spec. All right, got the Prelude back on the ground. Tightened everything to spec for the end links, front and rear. Everything is good. Got the Rezacs on, again, for sale. Asking $1,700, but willing to negotiate as long as you don't lowball me. Trying to make the Prelude more, say, track oriented. I do want to buy Work CRKs, a full set like I had a couple years ago. I'm not trying to go as aggressive anymore on the Prelude. Also selling my air rights, so if you're interested, feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'm willing to ship. Again, price is negotiable, but don't lowball me. But I would say the front and rear sway bar install went successful and as smooth as it possibly could have been. Again, my Prelude is from '99 and I never did any maintenance or suspension tune-ups in the rear in terms of like end links and bushings. So my end links and my bushings were corroded and rusted out. As you saw in the previous clips, I had to cut out my end link, which was a pain in the ass. And for some of the OEM sway bar bolts on the bracket, they were so rusted that one turn and the head of the bolt snapped off. I didn't film that because that was a big pain and I was kind of frustrated. But I ended up drilling those out. Luckily, again, Suspension Techniques supplies you with new hardware. But overall, you can most certainly do this yourself. Just be patient. If you have a friend to help you, highly recommend that. One or two, would recommend 2 friends. So really one person job, but as you saw, you can most certainly do it on your own. So now the next step is the brake upgrade. We got new rotors and pads, waiting on my steel braided brake lines from StopTech and also a replacement rotor from StopTech. I'm gonna contact them this Monday when they open up to see their status because I need to get this done. And also in the next upcoming weeks, I am gonna go buy brand new energy suspension bushings, brand new OEM lower, upper control arms, front and rear, and just get this car pretty much back to OEM plus in terms of suspension. Other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video here. Hope you are all excited for me slowly bringing the Prelude back. Like I mentioned before, Skyline is near completed where I want it to be, so Skyline will be on the back burner-ish. I really wanna focus on the Prelude and do all the maintenance on it, do the motor and trans swap, swap out some exterior panels, and just get the Prelude back to how it was off the lot back in '99. But if you have any questions regarding the sway bars, feel free to shoot me some comments in the comment section and or also hit me up on Instagram. I answer a majority of everybody's DMs and messages, or I do my best. But other than that, thank you again all for your continued support. And if you're new to the channel and want to hit the subscribe button, that'd be awesome. And remember, aim high, drive low. We'll catch you next video. Take care.